Well, viewers, here we are, stationary with the engine off, and in the queue to get into Festival of the Unexceptional 2023, behind a Wartburg. Now, that car would have been registered in 2018. It uses the same registration sequence as the Dacia, the DNC Brook, imported from Romania in 2018 as well. I can hear this two-stroke engine from here. There's actually a Trabi in front of that, another Wartburg in front of that. The queue is extensive. Might get out and have a look at it actually in a second. But we're obviously a few miles inside the grounds of Grimsthorpe Castle in Lincolnshire. And so it's not really a problem. It's not spilling out onto the roads or anything like that. It just is going to take a while for us to get in. So if we get out of the car, we've got a sort of funny sort of digger thing behind us as well. Look at all that stuff behind us. Mark III Fiesta, 2CV, Ford Mondeo Mark 1, all that kind of stuff. I think this gentleman's having a bit of trouble with his plant machinery there to get back in the car. But as you can see down there, we've got all sorts of things. So this is part one of the Slightly Shambolic Shuffle around Festival of the Unexceptional 2023. As you can see, we're in the beigest Volvo of them all. I must get rid of this, I don't need that. And we've still got paint peeling off the dash and all sorts of things, and hopefully by the end of the day somebody will have actually decided we want to buy this car. That's a hope anyway. But we'll let this gentleman get on with what he needs to do. I shall get back in my car, switch the phone off, and we will get in and find somewhere to park. So I do apologise in advance if I get things wrong, viewers, if there's wind noise, if I fall over, if I get interrupted by music or announcements. I'm afraid it's just the way that it goes on this channel. We also, because the Mayor of London has decided that, he doesn't like old cars, or any cars really, but we don't talk about diesels on this channel, so we should be skipping all of those. If you don't like that, please turn the video off, and don't leave a stupid comment down below, because I will just delete it. You've been warned. Right, 1977 Chrysler Alpine GL, very early Alpine this. I think this might be a base spec one actually. These were made from 1976 to about 1985. Rebadged as a Talbot in 1979. Amazing condition, of course. This is the entrance to the Concours section where we're going to be starting off. And some past winners here. This is last year's winner actually. 1994 I think it is. Astra 1.4 Merit. This is the absolute base spec. It's got the high torque version of the Merit engine, 60 horsepower. Merit engine, sorry, the high torque version of 1.4 engine. So 60 horsepower, and it looks, well, immaculate. Car from Scotland. This is the winner from 2021. I think it's in 1990. It could be an 89. I can't remember now. Proton 1.5 GL Black Knight Special Edition. The only Black Knight left. Dealer sort of special edition type thing or something like that. I think they were not a dealer one. They were sort of done by Proton UK rather than Proton in Malaysia. Original dealer plates. All the stickers are correct. Wheel trims. It's just, well, exceptionally unexceptional. Mr Richardson, the furious driving, has just tapped me on the shoulder. His car is in the classic parking where I am as well, so we'll get to that later, but we need to go in, having had a look at this Nissan Sunny. I wonder if this has Datsun and Nissan badges on it. Some of them, the ones between sort of 84 and 86, had both. It's got Nissan badges on this one. So about 1984. As far as I remember, these are the B11. Yes, okay, Datsun and Nissan badges. Yeah, it's right in that kind of sort of period between the two of them. Someone's playing some Peter Gabriel there, of course. Wonderful colour. So yes, 83, 84 plate, and sort of very, very sort of light brown with a hat, of course. That's what you need. Right, so we're going to go into the concourse now. Unlike previous years where concourse trickled in, I think all the concourse entrants are actually here.
So we'll take a look at these first of all. Some of these cars are actually very familiar to me. There's actually one in here at least that I've actually driven on the channel. So we'll start with this Ford Cortina 80. Look at this. That is delicious. Ex-registration 1981 to 82. 1.6 Carousel Special Edition. Exceptionally unexceptional. Skoda 120L5. I think 5 maybe means it's got a 5-speed gearbox. Engine, of course, in the back. This engine continued in production in various forms from 1964 to about 2004, I think it was, something like that. I think the last car to use it was the Skoda Fabia. There we go, it's a 1988. It's a 1.2 engine, poplar green, and the boot is in the front. The little surprising Skoda model in there as well. That is fantastic. 1992 Volkswagen Polo. This is the facelifted Mark II. It's not a G40 or anything like that. If it was a G40, it wouldn't be here. Correct wheel trims for the year. Someone didn't put a bottle up at the back. Very early cat car. It's the CL. I don't know if this is the 1050 or the 1.3, but it is again very unexceptional. Very heavy steering in these. They've got a brake servo, but it's a remote servo, and the brakes they're not great. I've driven a couple of Mark II Polos and the brakes are a bit shocking. Then we have something rather exceptional here actually. This is the only Yugo Sana currently on the road, or Zastaver they're also called. Registered on the Isle of Wight. This car was rescued from near Ventnor, I think, at some point over the last couple of years. The Sana that Ian Seabrook had, I know all of you furiously typing in the comments to tell me that Ian Seabrook had a Sana. He did. I know a chap who owns that. He's actually got 2 of them, and neither of them are this one. This is a completely different car. And yeah, it's got an MOT till next July. Isn't that just amazing? Based on the same platform as Fiat Tipo, same Lampredi 1.4 engine, I think these are. As you can see, it says Fiat Lancia on top of there. And we've got a Nova Pride Special Edition. Wow. I mean, I've actually driven a Nova from the Concours section from last year, which is a 1-litre trip saloon. This is a Nova Pride. I don't know if that's actually that's a 1.2, isn't it? Because it's got the OHC Family 1 engine. 1990. So this is just before the final facelift for the Novas. Again, that's in amazing condition. Fiesta Classic. This is a Mark III. This is one of the Mark IVs actually come out. So it's sort of you know, one below that, and it's around about the same time as the Mark I car came out. So we haven't even got a rev counter in this one. And because it's a post-1994 car, we've got the sort of Mondeo style rear mirrors, so it's 96. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I prefer a gear personally, that's the sort of person I am, but that is wonderful anyway. 1973 DAF 33 with the Van Dorn Variamatic transmission. So this is before they started using some of the Renault engines. Only available with the Variamatic gearbox. And they were imported over here. As you can see, this is right-hand drive. It's got a miles per hour speedometer in very, very small numbers. Something very close to my heart. An R8 Rover 216 SLI. Judging by these wheel trims straight away, I can tell you that it's the slightly later one. It's not the very early one. It's not the facelifted one. It's in between. You can see we've got the round the corner indicators on the front, which dates this car to the earliest it would be late 1992, but it before late 1993. And exactly what it is. A lot of people would have fitted the grille to this, the grille, but you know, I like it the way that it is personally. Obviously it's 216 with the automatic gearbox. A lot of them are just having some cutting compound put on. Then we've got a Metro. It's quite a low spec Metro, this. I'm not even sure that this actually is anything. I think it's just a Metro. Morsels and Motors, I think, the name of the channel that the owner has on this car. So it's Sean Hudson, I think the name is. Yeah, 1 litre base standard. Exceptionally unexceptional, which I'm going to be saying a lot today, I'm afraid, viewers. Just the way that it goes. K11 Micra. Quite an early one, actually. Definitely a pre-facelift one to 94. This one, again, just for sort of flat red. It's a very popular colour for them. It looks like a 1 litre to me. The back, should tell me, but it's been covered up. So, yeah, the sort of frame has fallen over. Yeah, probably a 1 litre, I imagine. That again is with the non-colour-coded bumpers. It must be quite a low-spec one. It's not the Micra shape, it was the absolute base model with no wheel trims. But it's fairly low spec. Then we've got 1994 Vauxhall Cavalier 1.8 LS. Again, unexceptional specification, sort of rep spec really, with the mobile phone on the passenger seat there, which is just brilliant, and a very, very shiny engine bay. Very shiny. I have driven one of these. It was the same colour as this. It was a very late one. It was a classic, which was the run-out model for these. And there is one of those actually in the classic parking here today as well. Another Cortina here, this time a Mark IV Cortina. And looking absolutely immaculate. Absolutely wonderful, actually. This Mark IVs are very, very rare. This is a 2 litre S, as in the Sweeney. The Sweeney actually did use one of these in, I think, Series 4. It wasn't this colour, but it was very similar to this. And, the styling, I think, of these has aged quite well. They have this iconic shape, don't they? It's amazing that they actually kind of got through the sort of period where these were worth about £25 at one time. This one is certainly not worth £25 today. More classic Fords here, a very, very late Mark IV Escort, base spec 1.3 popular. I think you could have 1.1 as well, but this will do, won't it? 4-speed gearbox, cloth upholstery, vinyl backs to the seats, no wheel trims. Not much of anything. You got a rear wiper. What absolute utter decadence. So yeah, so 1990, that one. And then we've got a very early Corsa here, very early Corsa B, 93 on a K was when they actually came out. So from the sort of first few months of production, this car has been on the Furious Driving channel. Correct, I think, wheel trims for this. It'll have, I think, the 1.2 engine with just 45 horsepower, which will make it a little bit on the slow side. It's amazing, actually, how modern these look in comparison with most things that were made in 1993. As you can see, yes, Mr Richardson sticker is on there. I have driven a very similar car to this. It was actually a Merit. It's an M plate, and it was even more basic than that. A very, very basic one. Merit E-Drive. Mr Bushby, a long-term entrant for the Concours section of Festival Unexceptional, is here in his 1996 Fiat Punto. It's one of 2 Puntos he used to own. He's sold the other one, which is actually here as well, but owned by Mr Richardson for Furious Driving. Mr Bushby, as usual, has made his car immaculate inside. The ELX was the top of the range apart from the sporty models at the time, and it's looking very, very good. I mean, you got power steering in this, which was good, because the other one he used to have does not have power steering. I know because I've driven it. It's one of the earliest Puntos actually surviving that one. This is a bit of a later one. This is far more kind of sort of along the lines of what I like, though. I like a bit of luxury in my life. Honda Accord, I think a Mark II Accord from memory, this one, with a Honda-matic gearbox, a sort of 3-door. There we go, there's the Honda-matic gearbox. Decadent to get a rev counter in this one. So it's a 1983. I think those are the original dealer plates. Well, I could be wrong, but again, that looks wonderful. Peugeot 205, there's very often a 205 in the Concours section of this event. This is a 1988, so it's one of the first ones probably with the newer dash.
This is one of the newer dash.
Are you copying me, Mr Richardson?
No. I've done my research, I didn't copy you.
Enjoy your non-shambolic non-shuffle, sir.
It's very non-shambolic.
Indeed, sir.
Yeah, so anyway, as I was saying.
Yep, newer dash.
Newer dash.
Oh, it's an XE. That's the base model, sir. Wheel trims have been changed, though.
The wheel trims have been changed, taken off in fact.
I think they're off. Those are off a rally, aren't they?
I think they are, yeah. I know people say these YouTube reviews of the same show are very similar, but...
Thank you, sir. We got Astra F here. Mr Richardson is antics, honestly. Astra F here, 1.4 LS. This might, if we're really lucky, actually be the 82 horsepower version of this, but if it's not, it might just be the high torque, which would be the 60 horsepower LS. So it's a 93. My gosh, one previous owner had this car until October 2022. We Buy Any Car bought this in May 23. Goodness gracious me, this is wonderful, especially with this turquoise metallic. Mark III Fiesta, another Mark III Fiesta. Two Mark III Fiestas in the Concours section this year. This is an earlier one, you can see by the mirrors. This, LX, something like that. Garfield keeps turning up in all these cars. No, it's a Fiesta Meridian. Fiesta Meridian was actually... This is going to get really specific now. Meridian were the new ITV franchise owner when this car was actually registered in early 1993. That is the original logo. They still have the ITV franchise, which is for the south. It's the area that I grew up in. And they were sold through the Southern Ford dealer network. And TP, which is actually a Portsmouth plate. So, yeah, that makes perfect sense. This is getting ridiculous now, viewers. Okay, Nissan Bluebird. I think this is a T72 Bluebird, 1988. I have driven one of these. It was a 1990, the one I drove. This is a saloon. This looks quite posh, actually. And it's the 2-litre GSX. Yeah, it's a very posh one. There was an executive that was even posher than that. But, I mean, that'll do, won't it? Very nice. They are very nice cars to drive, actually, the Bluebirds. Citroen Xantia. Hopefully this has a petrol. Yes, it's a 2-litre SX. So, with the automatic gearbox. So, quite handy. And it's 94. My gosh, we've first owner kept it for 25 years. And it's currently just sitting a little bit down on the suspension, which is perfectly normal for these. And then we've got another Rover R8. You know, that's no surprise, sir. What are you doing here again, sir? This is the most ridiculous event I've ever been to in my life. Right, Mr Richardson has gone off to do his non-shambolic non-shuffle. And here we have a 1995 Rover 214i. This would have been quite a low spec back in the day. This one has come from Germany. Weirdly, the Germans seem to have got a bit more than we got on our 214i's. As you can see, we've got part leather seats and alloy wheels and wood and things like that and an airbag. So clearly in Germany they wanted to up-spec these ones, whereas a 214i didn't really get you a lot in 1995. So very last year for the 3 and 5 door R8s, I had one with them later than this. It was a 95 registered 96 214 SLI Auto. Do you like R8s, viewers? And so does Mr Richardson, because he owns several of them. And then we have a 4L. Look at this, Renault 4 GTL. With the gear lever sticking out, the dash, 1986, quite a late one. They kept going until I think 91, I think the last year for these was. Can't remember we stopped selling them over here. One thing I do like about this is the diamond-shaped indicator repeater on the front wing. That is wonderful. Also wonderful is this Princess. This is a relatively early one. It's a 1976, and it's the base model, I think this one is. So we've got vinyl, beige vinyl, and it is wonderful. No vinyl roof, nothing, just Princess 1800. I think we've seen this before. And another K11 micro. This is the luxury model. This is the 1.3 SLX. Those wheels look very period correct. I don't know if they were a standard or an option, but yeah, that is completely decadent. I've driven a 1.3 SLX on the K11s, but it was I think an auto. This is a manual, so yeah, absolutely decadent in comparison with most K11 micros. 97. Another Astra here. This one is a Mark II Astra, otherwise known as the Cadet E, 1987, from Runcorn. Very popular actually in that area of the world because Vauxhall have been building Astras in Ellesmere Port since 1980. So yeah, this is the kind of thing that my father-in-law would have had. He had family members that worked for Vauxhall, and they always used to give him their cars that they'd acquired on staff discount after they finished with them. So yeah, tons and tons of these when my lady wife was growing up. Ooh, viewers, Suzuki Baleno Saloon. That is incredibly exciting. 1997. That is just amazing. That is exactly the sort of thing that should be here. And I very much would like one of those actually. That would be very nice. Also very nice is Mitsubishi Galant. I mean, this for me is even more at my street. Look at this. Automatic gearbox. I think headlamp washers. 1990. The gentleman who owns this, I think actually, I've been in touch with him actually at some point. That is exceptionally nice, and I'm not really surprised at all. Look at all these receipts, original bill of sale, tax discs. Yeah, amazing. And the pre-1995 area code for Crichtons of Peterborough on there as well.
Hi, Joseph.
Morning. And we have a Daihatsu Applause, which is not a saloon, it's a hatchback. It looks like a saloon. This one, I don't know what country this is from. Is this from like the Netherlands or something? It's a 91. I don't know where that's from. That is just delicious. Can I take that home? So Vauxhall Cavalier Mark 1 2000 GLS. Quite a late one for one of these. They finished in 1981. This is the top of the range for 2 litre. Only a 4-speed though, but look at all this brownness velour in orange, typical colour for this sort of era. Just amazing. Also amazing, another Fiesta here, Mark II. We've got 2 Mark II Fiestas, 2 of them. Wow. This is looking quite unexceptional though. Have we got the poverty dash in this? Oh yes, we have. This is a poverty dash. If you went for the L or above, I think the earlier ones had the poverty dash and the later ones had the nice dash. But this 4-speed gearbox, poverty dash, steel wheels, a Popular Plus with rear wiper. Be about 87, 88 that one. And then we've got another Mark II Fiesta. I don't even think we get a rear wiper. No, we do not. We do not get a rear wiper. This is even more poverty spec. My gosh, how sort of low down the range do you want to get? We've not even got headrest in this. Goodness me. This is probably just a popular, maybe like a 950cc or something. That is just amazing. Wow. Something a bit more to my taste though is this Rover 213. Again, this is a base model. There were, all the ones right away through to the Vanden Plas with the Tess, but this is the absolute base model, and it's in this sort of shade of beige. I mean, that is exceptionally unexceptional. So it's an 88. I've driven an 87 one of these, a 213S, which you've got a bit more equipment. That doesn't really have anything. And then we've got this Volvo 244DL. Is this the same one that was on the iDriver Classic channel? Quite possibly. So yeah, the 2.1 red block engine in this. Yeah, it's an auto. Yeah, I think it is the same one. I think this is a 79, this one. One thing I'm not too fond of, though, is these silver on black plates. It should have just the normal plates on it. But, you know, never mind. Some people like that kind of thing. Sorry, 78. Sorry, not a 79. And headlamp wiper action too. And we got a Fiat 128. This is from, I think, the Netherlands. 1970. Gosh, this is one of the oldest cars in the Concours. Very early one. These came out in 1969, so one of the very first of the 128s. I'm surprised that's not dissolved, but it hasn't, and it's here, and it's wonderful. And then also from the Netherlands, this is the Subaru Justy 1 litre. Mr Richardson has just told me that this is a two-wheel drive Justy because they didn't think they needed to have four-wheel drive necessarily in the Netherlands. It's a 93. I remember these actually. That is just right, viewers. Right, let's see if we can go to the last section here. Mark 1 Real Laguna. Oh, this is the RTI. This is one of the fancy ones. Relative to this era, often you can tell the engine trim level by looking at both sides of the car. So 96, this one. I think they came out in 1994 from memory. You have a 2 litre S. I don't know what that means. More power? Wouldn't surprise me if this is the Renault F-Type engine in this, but it might not be. It's not the poshest one, but it'll do, won't it? And we got an Escort Mexico. This is not the same as the Mexicos from, say, the 70s. This one registered in 1995. It sort of seems to me to be based on a relatively low spec. It doesn't seem like it's the poshest one because it's got wheel trims and things on this. But we have got the 1.6 90 horsepower Zetec R engine in this, which is a very good engine actually. And next we've got Mr Chris James 1991 P10 Primera, which has been on the Furious Driving channel, but I actually filmed this last year. It was at the Festival Unexceptional in 2021, and I think that's after Chris bought it. We've actually got some nice cassette storage solution in there as well, which I'm very happy with indeed. I would prefer personally for one above this, which you could get a bit more equipment, but that'll do, won't it? It's a very, very nice car, that. Oh, and I think we've seen this one before. Metro HLE to 2 Metros. I think I know which one I prefer. This one's a little bit more equipment than the other sort of more base spec one. And yeah, I mean, look at this steering wheel and things like that, and has the economy ratio on fourth for this. That was the idea behind the HLE, and we've actually got flush headlamps in this. So I think it's an 83, this one from memory. Registered in New Milton, which is kind of the Hampshire side of Bournemouth, and it's very, very nice indeed. Right, that is the competition in the Concours section. Let's go now into the classic parking and see what else we can find there. We're just going to take a brief look at some of the things here because this first part's getting quite long already, so we'll finish it quite soon.
Good morning, everybody.
Oh gosh, not announcements. Pause. I'm afraid the interruptions actually Ian Seabrook, Steph Holloway and Mr Richardson being interviewed. So we're going to continue whilst they do that because I've got a long way to go, and I'm sure somebody who's far more competent than me will have recorded that interview. So we've got Swindon Civic here, MB Civic I think these are. This is quite an early one. It's 1996, 1997. Probably a 1.5 or something like that. Then a Polish registered Peugeot 505. I think they call these Familiale in France. What we call them in Poland, or I don't know. Just the estate I think over here. The GR. We've got, I think these are an 8-seater from memory. They're absolutely enormous cars. Sort of descendant of the 504, which again was huge. Very popular in places like Africa. And we've got a Maestro. I'm surprised this is the first Maestro we've actually seen. This one is Maestro Clubman from July 1993, so it'll have the cat on it and fuel injection. Very similar to the later Rotor cars, Ledbury Maestros, and the Apple 2000 ones, because they're all based on Clubmans. Then we've got a 2001 Citroen Zara Coupe VTS. I've actually driven one of these, a facelifted one, on the channel. This is a pre-facelift. They have the same engine as the 306 GTI 6. And yeah, they're not bad to drive actually, those. Riley Elf. This is actually a Mark III because of the doors. So it's post, I think the doors came in 67. We've got some Dunlop alloys on this as well. That's quite a nice that actually. Then we've got MGB, a rubber bumper, which I actually quite like. I like the rubber bumper ones. They've got some really light style wheels on this. What's that an R? So 1976 to 77. And then Austin A35 van. You might think that's on the wrong plate, it's a 67. Well, they made these until 1968, when they actually unified the small vans into one design and started badging the Morris O-Type or minor vans. I think they were just marketed as the O-Type or 600 weight or something. They started putting Austin badges on those for the last 3 years of production, but these were made till 68. And yes, it is the same type of van that's featured in that Wallace and Gromit film. So thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below, and we shall see you again soon for more incorrect information.